Originally published in 1872, The Birth of Tragedy from the Spirit of Music is a work of dramatic theory by the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. Reissued in 1886 under the title The Birth of Tragedy, or Hellenism and Pessimism, the book opens with a preface and is structured into 25 chapters. In it, Nietzsche contends that classical Greek tragedy emerges from the fusion of Apollonian and Dionysian perspectives. With a passionate and elevated tone, he dedicates the first 15 chapters to distinguishing these two worldviews before examining their interaction, which produces a novel form of dramatic art. In the remaining 10 chapters, Nietzsche applies the Greek paradigm to assess the development and decline of modern culture. Despite his critique of contemporary society, he affirms faith in the individual soul and urges a departure from Socratic principles in favor of the teachings of Dionysius. In the postscript of the 1886 edition, Nietzsche reflects critically on his earlier work, describing it as an impossible book, badly written, ponderous, embarrassing, image-mad and image-confused, sentimental, saccharine to the point of effeminacy, uneven in tempo, and without the will to logical cleanliness. Nietzsche begins by portraying Greek art before the influence of Dionysius as superficial, preoccupied solely with appearances. In this context, the observer remains detached from the work, unable to engage fully with it. Apollo, in the classical Athenian tragic sense, functions to shield humanity from inherent suffering, offering relief through measured beauty and form. Dionysius, however, introduces a transformative force that disrupts the Apollonian order. Nietzsche posits that immersion in the Dionysian essence, the primordial unity, allows individuals to merge with art and momentarily escape human suffering. Under Dionysius, man recognizes that existence surpasses the individual experience and that death is the ultimate release from suffering. Nietzsche presents the Dionysian path as an optimistic alternative to religious salvation, which demands relinquishing life for the promise of heaven. Salvation through Dionysius is achieved by embracing the present and fully inhabiting the immediacy of life. Yet, Nietzsche emphasizes that while salvation comes through Dionysius, it is Apollo who mediates and reveals the Dionysian spirit. Tragic actors and choruses serve as conduits, channeling Dionysian essence into form, allowing humanity to experience joy despite suffering. Simultaneously, Apollonian structure tempers Dionysian chaos, preventing the audience from being consumed entirely by ecstatic frenzy. In authentic tragic art, Apollo and Dionysius are inseparably entwined. Recognizing the limitations of language, Nietzsche turns to music as the true essence of tragedy. Music transcends mere signification, enabling humans to connect profoundly with the primordial unity, embodying the world will itself, and thus representing the highest form of tragic art. Nietzsche singles out the Greek playwright Euripides as the destroyer of tragic art, accusing him of introducing Socratic doctrines into the theater. Euripides' focus on knowledge and human reason, alongside his emphasis on individual characters, marginalize the Dionysian dimension and undermine the Apollonian-Dionysian balance essential to tragedy. Nietzsche traces the consequences of this shift into modernity, arguing that contemporary culture remains entrenched in the legacy of Alexander the Great, yet is threatened by the inadequacy of scientific rationalism to explain universal mysteries. Drawing on Kant and Schopenhauer, he predicts a rebirth of tragedy capable of overturning the outdated Socratic framework. He highlights the works of Richard Wagner, composer, musician, and theater director, as exemplars of this revival. Contrary to conventional views that celebrated Greek culture as enlightened and noble, Nietzsche sees it as a realm marked by profound pessimism. The human mind cannot fully grasp the forces shaping the universe. All attempts are ultimately illusory. Nietzsche concludes on a hopeful note, insisting that a harmonious embrace of both Dionysian and Apollonian principles is necessary. Extremes in either direction are unhealthy, while the Greek tragic tradition demonstrates that these forces were always interlinked. The Greek audience benefited directly from Dionysian influence within the Apollonian framework, and Nietzsche contends that Germany's enduring cultural character owes itself to a residual connection to this primordial unity. Ultimately, the birth of tragedy signals Nietzsche's optimism for the next generation, preparing the world for what is to come. This work marks Nietzsche's debut publication, laying the philosophical groundwork for later writings, including on truth and lies in a non-moral sense, philosophy in the tragic age of the Greeks, untimely meditations, human, all too human, the dawn, the gay science, thus spoke Zarathustra, on the genealogy of morality, the case of Wagner, Twilight of the Idols, the Antichrist, Ecce Homo, Nietzsche contra Wagner, the will to power, and many others. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.